Astrid Holleeder was born on the 4th of December 1965 in the Jordaan, a working-class neighborhood in Amsterdam. She was the youngest of 4 children. Her father worked for Heineken but struggled with alcoholism and was abusive. Her mother was at home caring for the children. The family environment was volatile. Astrid grew up with fear, witnessing physical and emotional abuse in the home. Even as a child, Astrid saw her brother Willem as a figure of strength. He often had money, fancy cars, girlfriends, symbols of power she admired. But at the same time, she saw how fearful people around him were, how he could oscillate between charm and menace. She developed mixed feelings, respect, but also dread. When Astrid was about 17, her brother Willem Holleeder and his associates executed one of the most famous crimes in Dutch history: the kidnapping of beer magnate Freddie Heineken and his driver, demanding a ransom of 35 million guilders. Astrid says this event marked a turning point. It pulled the Holleeder name into public infamy and forever changed her family life. Despite the criminal reputation of her family, Astrid initially sought a more conventional path. She studied law, becoming a lawyer, tried to pursue a professional career, and kept a relatively quieter life. But the Holleeder name and her brother's crimes cast a long shadow. People assumed things, gossip followed, and safety was never guaranteed. Over time, Astrid was drawn into her brother's world more directly. Because she was a lawyer, Willem trusted her. She served as legal advisor, messenger, person who could sometimes buffer between Willem and the law. She was close enough to hear his private conversations. But that closeness also meant being exposed to his dark side. Threats, intimidation, violence. Willem Holleeder's criminal acts weren't just public. They affected his family heavily. Astrid describes constant fear. Fear for her own safety, for her sister Sonja, and for other family members. Willem's behavior at home was often violent and out of control. Astrid felt caught between loyalty to her family name and terror of what her brother could do. At some point, Astrid realized that silence was complicity. She decided she couldn't let fear keep her locked in her brother's world. This was no easy choice. It meant risking her safety, her relationships, her career, even possibly her life. But she came to believe that the only path to preventing further harm was to speak out. Astrid didn't simply go to the police with accusations. She took active steps to gather evidence. She recorded private conversations with her brother over years. Her cooperation was far more than testimony. These recordings became key in the criminal prosecutions against Willem Holleeder. In 2016, Astrid published her autobiography Judas, in which she details her childhood, her relationship with Willem, the fear, threats, and ultimately her betrayal. The book became a bestseller, translated into many languages, and opened up her private life to public view. It played a major role in how the Dutch public perceived the underworld and her role in bringing her brother to justice. After deciding to testify, Astrid went into hiding. She adopted alias identities, moved among safe houses, and began using heavy security measures. She traveled in bulletproof cars, used disguises, even prosthetic changes, e.g. noses or teeth, to avoid recognition. Her life became one of fear and constant vigilance. Astrid's secret recordings and statements became pivotal evidence in the trials against her brother. Along with her sister Sonja and others, she testified in court about murders, extortion, threats, forming a central part of the prosecution's case. Without her evidence, many charges might not have held up. Astrid has openly stated that she believes her brother wants her dead. Not just her, but witnesses and people who have spoken out. She lives under protection, knowing that speaking out in gangland justice has lethal risk. The threat is constant. Stepping outside, being recognized, being betrayed. Her sister Sonja also testified, and relatives were caught in the crosshairs of Willem's criminal circle. The Holleeder family was split. Loyalty, fear, love, and betrayal all mixed. Astrid's public postures are deeply shaped by these family relationships and the moral decisions they forced upon her. Astrid's public figure, author, witness, critic, contrasts sharply with her private self, someone hiding, constantly fearful, sometimes isolated. She lost much: privacy, peace, friends, but she gained a sense of agency by telling her story and helping the law. Astrid has criticized how the witness protection works in the Netherlands. In her writings, she claims there are leaks, security failures, inefficiencies. She says her safety and that of other witnesses is often precarious, sometimes inadequate. The risk of retaliation is often high. Before going public, Astrid had built a career as a criminal defense lawyer. This role was complicated given her family background, representing clients, yet having deep personal knowledge of serious criminal acts. Later, she stepped back from legal practice when her safety became impossible. After Judas, she wrote further books, Dagboek van een Getuige, etc., and interview pieces. She has become a public voice on crime, justice, and family betrayal. Her story has been adapted into television shows, theater productions. This media presence increased both support and danger for her. In August 2025, after about 10 years of near total anonymity, Astrid began appearing publicly under her real name. In talk shows, as a crime analyst. She said she felt the time had come to reclaim her identity. But still with tight security and under constant risk. Astrid often speaks about the emotional toll: guilt, sorrow, fear. Betraying a brother is not just legal act, it is emotional. She calls herself Judas in her autobiography because of how much it cost her. Family relationships, childhood illusions, fear of death. One of Astrid's observations is how Willem uses charm, public admiration, media, and persona to shield himself. Even after terrible accusations, some still saw him as likable. Astrid felt this public sympathy was dangerous. It could distort justice. She saw the contrast between his public image and his private actions. Astrid's journey was made harder because she was a woman. The criminal underworld, the courtrooms, media, all dominated by male figures. She faced disbelief, stigma, threats. Speaking out was riskier. She had to fight not only her brother but also stereotypes. Willem Holleeder was convicted in 2019 of ordering 5 murders, among other serious crimes. Astrid's testimony, secret recordings, and courage were essential in the court's judgment. The trials were long, high security, and widely followed by the public. Willem's career began in crimes like the Heineken kidnapping, 1983, extortion, blackmail, intimidation, and murder. Astrid's involvement in bringing him down has forced the Dutch public to reckon with the darker side of those criminal legends. Astrid's legal practice was deeply affected. She once defended clients, but becoming a key witness in a high-profile criminal trial meant she had to step away from her role. Her credibility was attacked, her safety compromised. But she also gained respect from those who saw her sacrifice. Astrid lost privacy, trust, relationships. Some friends drifted away. Fear isolated her. She sometimes wondered if keeping silent would have been easier, but she believed it would be morally wrong. Her public role, although heroic to many, came with steep personal cost. Living in safe houses, changing appearance, maintaining anonymity. It's a lifetime burden. The cost is more than physical security. Emotional stress, always looking over her shoulder. Astrid often criticizes that protection sometimes fails. She has said emergency lines don't always work. Leaks occur. She lives under constant threat. When Judas came out, the public was fascinated. The media followed the trial, the book, the tapes, the betrayal. People debated whether she was righteous or betrayer, courageous or opportunist. Her story became a national conversation about family, crime, justice. Astrid is a mother. Her daughter Miljushka Witzenhausen is a known media personality. Her decisions affected her children deeply. Growing up under threat, living in hiding, perhaps not having a normal childhood. She often expresses concern about their safety and the psychological cost of growing up in her shadow. Astrid has said that many things in her brother's criminal life might disturb others, but for her, murder crossed a red line. Extortion, fear, threats, these were bad, and she suffered from them. But actual killings demanded action. This moral clarity motivated her testimony. In 2025, she publicly stepped out of anonymity, appearing on RTL Boulevard, etc., using her own name. She said, "I choose not to live invisibly any longer." That decision came after years, and with much calculation about safety. It marks a new phase. No longer just voice behind the scenes, but a public presence again. With her increased visibility, Astrid has indicated re-entering her legal profession and serving as a crime and justice analyst on TV. She works with caution, but believes in using her story to inform, to expose, and to try to create change. Beyond Judas, Astrid's writings, e.g. Dagbok van en Getuige, provide more than memoirs. They are tools for understanding the underworld, showing how crime infiltrates everyday life, how loyalty can hurt, how fear works. Readers see both crime's glamour and suffering. Willem Holleeder has repeatedly accused Astrid of lying, fabricating, seeking money, trying to manipulate the court of public opinion. Astrid is aware of the denial campaigns. Some people believe Willem's side. There is a constant battle of narratives. Even after trials and convictions, Astrid says she knows the threat hasn't ended. She still fears for her life, for her safety every time she leaves a protected location or is recognized in public. The criminal underground remembers, and not everyone forgives betrayal. Her testimony has helped convict her brother on multiple counts of murder and extortion. The life sentence for Willem Holleeder was significantly influenced by her secret recordings and willingness to break silence. In legal history, her role is rare and powerful. In criminal families, loyalty and silence are often expected. Astrid broke that code. Her actions have encouraged other victims to speak, witnesses to overcome fear. She forced society to ask, how do we protect justice when fear silences people? Astrid's life has become material for more than books. Her story has inspired theater, TV series, possibly films. The public is fascinated. Her narrative is both crime story and family drama. Astrid's story is complicated. She was victim to abuse, fear, intimidation. But she also made choices. First to stay silent, then to speak. She shifted from being part of someone's defense lawyer, confidant, to being a whistleblower. This duality makes her story powerful and relatable. By stepping out publicly, returning to law, claiming her name, Astrid is reclaiming what she feels was stolen: safety, voice, identity. She's choosing no longer to be hidden. This move is courageous and speaks to her belief that justice and truth are worth risk. Astrid's journey shows several lessons. That evil can grow in families. Choices matter. Silence can protect, but also poison. Speaking out may cost everything, but it can also help end cycles of terror. For many, her life is a warning and an inspiration. Crime doesn't just hurt society, it hurts families. Courage sometimes comes from the ones closest to the pain.